I recently launched a Shopify store from scratch, stuck to one niche, and generated over $100,000 in less than 30 days. And after nearly a decade in this game, scaling multiple six-figure stores exactly like this one, I've learned one undeniable truth about picking your niche. Boring beats flashy every single time. While most people are stuck chasing trends, virality, and hype, there's another type of niche built to scale that most people aren't paying attention to. And once you see how I spotted this one, and I structured everything around it, you'll never look at niches the same way again. Let me guess, you already have a niche in mind, one you feel confident about. You like the product, you've seen it blow up online, and maybe you or someone close to you even uses it. So in your head, that feels like a green light. But listen, that exact mindset is a trap. Look, most people don't fail at dropshipping because they pick the wrong product. They fail because they pick products they're emotionally attached to. They chase niches that feel exciting, flashy, new, viral, and then they sit there and they wonder why they're stuck, restarting over and over again. Here's a problem with trend-driven niches. They're almost impossible to build a real system around. There's no consistency in demand, no predictable buyer behavior, and no structure that you can actually design for that's going to withstand the test of time. What you actually need is a niche that gives you leverage. Leverage to design a store with intention, not guesswork. Leverage to predict how customers are going to behave, not hope they convert. And leverage to build something repeatable instead of starting from zero every few months. The product that generated over $100,000 for me that quickly, it wasn't flashy, it wasn't spiking on Google Trends, and it definitely wasn't reinventing anything. What it did have was proven demand, and a simple, clear problem that is solved well enough for me to build a system around it. And you see, that is the real advantage. Because when you have the right structure, you can turn any boring niche into something timeless. Something that works in slow seasons, busy seasons, and everything in between. The product didn't carry the business. These systems did. And every system has a starting point. It's the part where most people rush, overthink, or honestly completely ignore. And that is your product page. And I'm about to walk you through exactly how I set mine up, so you know exactly what matters and what doesn't. And look, if you don't already have a store set up yet, that is completely fine. There is a video linked right below where AI will build a foundation for you in minutes. What we're about to do here is show you how you can turn that foundation into something that actually sells. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is pull up Beautify. And hey, if you want to follow along using your own product, I went ahead and left a link in the description that will take you directly to the same exact platform that I'm using right now. So this right here is what we got straight from the base template. And look, straight from the jump, this is not bad at all. By any means, I mean, it's pretty much 80% there. All we're gonna do is just add that final 20% to make customers hit that buy now button. So the first thing I always do is go straight to colors and then adjust these based off of our brand. Primary, secondary, and in this case, we're using the yellow as the secondary. And we're gonna go ahead and use this hot pink as our primary. Now we're changing the sales badge color. And look, this tiny detail matters way more than what people think. The badge is one of those few elements that's supposed to visually interrupt the scroll. So I'm gonna go ahead and select red here just so that it pops. Now we're gonna add an image with text section right after the product information. Now this section does two different jobs. One, it breaks up the page so it doesn't feel like one long wall of content. And two, it gives you space to communicate benefits without people needing to read long paragraphs. And a good rule of thumb is usually there's around 3 to 5 of these. So I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this a couple times. For the middle one, we're changing desktop images placement to the right. I do this simply because placing things left all the way down makes this page feel repetitive. So alternating it from left to right, this just keeps the page visually moving. Now we can go ahead and start uploading our content. And you can upload these images through your supplier, from your competitors, or even generate them using AI. Just what you want to make sure to do is just keep it clean and accurate. If I'm being honest though, GIFs are super underrated on product pages. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in some of those as well, as they give you that page motion and proof without forcing someone to hit play on a long video. And by the way, if you're pulling these from TikTok, keep them short, like a few seconds, and just make sure that they're high quality. The goal is, it should look good while someone is scrolling fast. Improve your messaging within that first couple seconds. Either way, we can always swap these later as we get better content. All right, so now that we got the visuals in place, we're gonna go ahead and fill out the text. And honestly, this is where most beginners get stuck because they try to write everything from scratch. And what it ends up turning into is something that just ends up leaving the customer confused, which we don't want at all. So here's what I would do instead. I use AI to speed up the first draft, but I feed it with real information, meaning I'm giving the AI like the supplier details, the competitor details, and even Amazon descriptions if it's the exact same product. And by the way, if you want access to the exact prompts that I use to write all my product pages and store copy, I will leave a full prompt pack linked right below this video. Inside this cheat sheet document, it's going to save you a ton of time and help ChatGPT actually understand your vision from the start. So I went ahead and found some product info in Google. I'm gonna go ahead and copy that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing with Amazon. And now that I have all this information, I'm gonna head back into ChatGPT, give it a single AI prompt, and ask it for 9 bullet points that makes different features and benefits, because that's exactly what these image with text blocks are doing. So now that ChatGPT gave us this information, we're gonna take these bullet points and I'll paste them directly back into the Beautify. And I want you to not overthink this first version. You're mainly looking for, is this clear? Does it sound human? And does it match the product? And I'm not gonna lie, some of these are a little bit long, so we'll go ahead and tighten them after. And you can keep the emoji if you want, or remove it. Now, personally for me, I usually remove emojis unless the brand voice clearly calls for it. And again, if it looks too long or too crowded, do not force it. We will come back and we'll polish it later on. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and fill out the rest of these. And as I go, you can see that I'm shortening them down, trimming extra words at the top, and then adding in different bullet points. Because with each one of these sections, you want them to feel like one quick headline and then have clear supporting points. That's what's gonna make this page skimmable, which is how most people actually shop. Next, we're gonna go ahead and add FAQs near the bottom. And this is gonna be another section that people skip. And I'm telling you, every time it's gonna cost them. Why? Because FAQs handle objections before doubt builds. Shipping, returns, what's included, how it works, all of that. And since we already built the prompt earlier, we can just reuse it and just ask, generate 4 to 7 FAQs based off of this product information. And now that we have this, we can go ahead and copy it and just paste it right in. Now we're adding reviews, and I'm placing them right below the image with text section. And this is important because reviews work best right after people have seen benefits and proof. It's kind of like reinforcement. And for testimonials, you can pull them directly from your supplier. And yes, you can also have ChatGPT write them, but I do prefer using actual reviews because the wording feels genuine. Now that we have that information, let's go ahead and put these into our testimonials. And if you really want to level it up visually, you can add author images, the little avatars that go above the testimonial itself. And the easiest way to get these avatar images is to head over to Pixels. Pick a few faces that match your audience, download them, and then upload them as avatars for your testimonial names. At this point, the product page is basically done. We got image with text blocks with GIFs, testimonials, and FAQs. So the core trust stack is now all in place. From here, all I need to do is just check how it looks on mobile, because most of your customers are going to be coming from their phone. This is just another step that most people skip, and then they sit there and wonder why conversions suck. So yes, your page can look perfect on desktop, but still feel cramped or weird on mobile. So you always want to sanity check it. Alright, so our starting point is now officially complete. But here's something that most people are completely overlooking right now. Maybe even the most underrated step in my whole process. People are not just finding products through ads or Google anymore. They're asking AI. And if your Shopify store is not structured to show up there, you're invisible, no matter how good your product page is. And that is exactly what we did to make this boring niche work. We didn't just build a page that converts. We built a store that gets discovered. So now I'm gonna walk you through how I structure SEO the right way. Not just for Google, but for how people actually search today. Up until recently, most platforms were only pulling data from traditional search engines. And for a long time, that was enough. But search behavior is changing fast. People aren't just typing into Google anymore. They're getting answers directly from AI. And that creates a massive blind spot. Because if your tools are only showing you traditional search data, you have no idea how your content is actually being surfaced inside AI generated answers. Once I realized that shift was happening, it completely changed how I thought about this product. I didn't want another keyword tool. I needed something that could see both sides of search, traditional rankings and AI visibility, all in one place. And that's what eventually led me to SEMrush. It brings together the tools that we already rely on: keyword research, competitor analysis, site audits, along with visibility and how content shows up inside AI generated answers. So instead of looking at Google in isolation, we can see how people are actually finding information today. And considering how often we've already been using tools like ChatGPT throughout this entire build, it's safe to assume that consumers are probably doing the same. And again, everything that I'm walking you through today, all the tools, the AI prompt pack, this can all be found in the description right below this video. And just by clicking the link for SEMrush, you can actually get your first 14 days completely for free. Now, let me go ahead and show you how to set this thing up. So the first thing that we're gonna do here from the main dashboard is enter in our domain and create a project. Once we generate this, just give it a moment as it does take a second to upload and then populate all the information. Now, if we look at the left side, you're gonna see a lot of different options. Dashboard, competitive research, keyword research, link building, on-page SEO, all types of different content ideas. And we're not gonna be touching all of that right now. But the first thing that I care about is keyword intent. So I'm gonna go straight into the keyword magic tool. So here, we're just trying to get a glimpse of what keywords are connected to this product. So right here, I'm typing in Bible guide, and then I'm putting in our URL. Now that that's inputted, let's go ahead and hit search. Now when this loads, you're gonna see a lot of keywords. Take a breath, do not get overwhelmed. We're not trying to use all of these, we're just trying to see what exists. And right away, I mean, you can see that there's over 6,000 related keywords. And that tells us something extremely important already. People are actively searching around this topic. Now from here, I'm gonna go ahead and filter by search volume, because keywords really don't matter if nobody's searching for them. So I usually like to start off with something reasonable, around like 100 searches per month, just to see what's gonna show up. And you'll start seeing examples like Bible study guide for women, Bible journal, and all types of other similar terms. Now I'm gonna go ahead and lower this to 30 searches per month and then hit apply. And all of these right here are still solid keywords. Now they might not be the flashiest, but they're consistent. And that's exactly what we want for our product. And I do want to make something extremely clear here, is that these keywords are not for ads. What they're here for is to guide us on how to structure our product page with the right headings, the FAQs, and the copy that we already built earlier. So instead of guessing what to write, we're going to be aligning the page with data of how people are searching. Because look, content is king, but data is queen. And once you fully understand why, it's gonna always become your decision maker. Now earlier I mentioned competitors. So another thing that we can do is actually look at the stores that are already working in the space and see what keywords they're already ranking for. I mean, here's an example right here. You'll see keywords like daily, manifest daily, and so many different other ones. And I want to make this clear. This is not about copying anyone. It's about understanding patterns. So now I'm going to go ahead and type in our product name and our domain. And this is going to give us a list of keywords that are relevant specifically to this product, a year in the Bible. So all these are terms that people are actively searching for. And over time, we want our store to be showing up for searches like this. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the site audit. I'm not doing this to fix everything right now. I'm doing this so that we have a clear starting point. This is our baseline, what the site looks like before we apply keywords, structure, and optimization. So as we do make some changes over time for Google search and AI search, this is how we know what's actually improving and what's not. So at this point, the system is in place. The store can get discovered, the page is structured to convert, and now traffic actually has somewhere to go. But here's what most people don't think about. Getting your first sale isn't the hard part. Knowing what to do after the first few sales, that is where things get the most difficult. Because once orders start coming in, the game completely changes. It's no longer about will this work? It's about what do I scale and what do I cut? And if you don't have clarity there, momentum is going to die fast, even with a great product. That's why the next part of this matters so much, because this is where you see that difference between getting just a small win and a real successful month happening. Let me show you exactly what I mean inside True Profit. Here's where it all started. The first sale came in on July 3rd, around $41.02 in net profit. 3 units sold, and barely $1 and some change in costs. And listen, it wasn't life-changing money, but the margin was clean. That's the part that most beginners miss. When you start with a clean profit model, you don't need miracles. You just need momentum. So straight from the jump, I'm thinking, okay, this one might actually go somewhere. And then you can see 2 days later, July 5th, the notifications started picking up. 20 more orders rolling in, and total revenue crosses $780.32 with only $29 spent. This is where True Profit really came into play for me, because most beginners see 780 and think that they're done. But I was watching the real number here, which was the profit. I could literally see how every single dollar of ad spend was performing. So instead of guessing, I just doubled down on what was already working. Then July 12th hits, about 2 weeks in, and then revenue jumps to $16,638.73. This is where I really got locked in. Every single night, I'd open up True Profit and I'd let the data tell me what to do next. One night I'll never forget, I saw one of our angles was bringing in profit almost twice as efficiently as the others combined. And another angle, the complete opposite, not bringing in a single dollar worth of profit. And if I didn't have True Profit showing me that real picture, I just would have scaled the wrong thing and ended up blowing all the profit that I had that whole month. Instead, I killed the loser, I pumped spin into the winner, and I woke up the next morning with campaigns running smoother than ever. That's when the compounding really started. And by July 19th, 19 days into the month, we crossed over $50,000 in sales. And I could feel it in the numbers. The algorithm was warm, the campaigns weren't pushing anymore. I mean, these things were gliding. Then 5 days later, July 24th, the store crosses six figures, $102,922.26 in total revenue in under a month. And even then, I wasn't even impressed by the revenue, because revenue doesn't change your life. Your true profit does. Where by the end of July, we finished off at $130,045.03 in total revenue and $48,489 in net profit. And here's the funny part. It wasn't the six figures that stood out to me. It was the fact that I knew exactly where that $48,000 came from, exactly which ads brought it in, which angles carried the load, and where to put the next dollar. You see, the real lesson here isn't just that this niche worked. It's why it worked. Because boring niches don't win by accident. They win when you have a process that you can trust. One that cuts what's weak, doubles down on what's already working, and stays consistent even when nothing feels exciting. That's the real difference between chasing trendy ideas and building something that actually scales. Now, knowing this process is one thing. Building it the right way is another. So if you want to see exactly how I take this thinking and turn it into a real system, step by step, then this next video is going to be perfect for you. How to start Shopify dropshipping in 2026, where I walk you through how your store should be structured, how products should be set up, and how everything works together from day one, so you're not undoing mistakes later. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching and following along with me. And I'll see you in that next video. This is AC with Supreme Ecom, and I'm out.